I have not been acting and living as I should, and I want that to change. We are presented with a unique opportunity. Every year, when fall rolls around, all of the fun from the summer is kind of over. You know, we can still have fun, but the fun era of the summer is kind of over. Then we enter into a period where we're more work focused. We have school, maybe we're more focused at our job, something like this. Every fall, we should be so locked in that when spring rolls around, we emerge unrecognizable. And I want this video to be a call of action to both you and to me to make that change. This morning, I broke out my journal and a pen, right? Journal and pen. I bought this one, I forget where, but it's kind of like a cool little wooden journal with some random Japanese art on it. Regardless, I wrote down every single thing that I could think of that was wrong with my life. I wasn't sleeping well. I stay up way too late. I always sleep in, which is ridiculous for me. You know, I'm supposed to be about discipline and routine. I there are other things on there, right? But I wrote down every single thing wrong with my life because I had woken up feeling terrible with myself. I was feeling extremely guilty. Not that, you know, like I'm a horrible person and anything like that, but I mean, these are things that I promised myself that I would do, things that I actually want to achieve, and I want to perfect my routine, right? I want to perfect my sleep schedule. I want to stop engaging in bad habits and distractions. I want to really focus on my fitness goals. And I wasn't. And I couldn't quite seem to get my routine there. Now, it was okay for the summer, right? Because when you're, you know, the summer, it's more just about like fun, hanging out with friends, whatever, just like going for fucking ego lifting, bench PRs, shit like that, right? The summer is just about fun. It's supposed to be a time that you spend at the beach, having adventures, shit like that. It's loud ass truck, sorry about that. But now that we're going into fall and I'm supposed to be more focused on work, we all are. Now is the time to lock in. And I was looking at all of the things, and there's a surprisingly long list of things that I want to change about myself. But when I dumped it all out onto paper, my mind was freed from the guilt and the confusion. I now understood everything wrong with my life, my routine, etc., that I wanted to change. Then after journaling about it a bit more, I wrote out another list, and this was every single thing that I could do to improve. Basically, drastically changing your life and your routine will be more powerful than you trying to just do one thing, add one thing into your routine, or try to fix one problem at a time. No, 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 no. When you drastically change up your life and you throw multiple solutions at all of the problems in your life, that is when you make the most progress, right? That's when you decide, okay, tomorrow I'm going to completely change my life. I'm going to wake up super early, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I'm going to basically live a day that I would never have lived before, and then I'm going to just keep trying to do that day over and over and over. Now, we're not perfect, so it is difficult. You're not going to get it perfect the first try, right? But if you drastically change up your life, more things are likely to stick and more problems are likely to be solved. I know this is a bit outside of the niche of getting an aesthetic body and fitness, right? It's more like broad self-improvement. So instead, let's use an example with your physique. You can completely reinvent yourself in the span of the next 5 months. You can transform your physique to come out in the springtime unrecognizable to your friends. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. 5 months is actually a lot of time. Even if you've been working hard on your physique so far, right? If you just brain dump into a journal and think up all of the things that you can possibly imagine to aid your physique, right? Like all the things you can do to bulk up more, all the things you can do, like research new strategies on how to get stronger, stuff like this, like very niche, specific, not mainstream protocols for getting stronger, right? If you just brain dump into a journal and then you commit to trying out a bunch of different things, a bunch of like brand new things, completely change up your routine from what you have it now, write out some like a routine that you got from someone else by doing research. If you completely like lock down your sleep schedule, you're like, okay, I need this many hours to sleep to recover enough, and then if I do that, I'm gonna get more results in the gym, like way more results. Or if I use this specific tactic to bulk, I can actually gain more than the recommended amount, which is like 1 pound per week. I can gain like 5 pounds per week, and then in spring, I'll be actually like so big it's unrecognizable. If you do that, you will transform yourself completely. This is our chance, boys. This is our chance. We only get this once a year. I mean, we could do it any time, but it's best to do it in the fall. It's right to do it in the fall. It is good to do it in the fall. To go through our winter arc. I know that sounds kind of cringe, right? Your winter arc, but like let's be honest, like you can fucking do it, and you can do a serious one, right? Not it's just like a cringe, like oh I'm locked in. I have like a little routine or whatever the fuck. Like you can actually like, you can transform yourself if you put your mind to it. Let's say you're trying to bulk up and gain weight, but you can't quite figure out how to do it, right? In that case, in order to attack the problem from multiple angles, you need to write out a bunch of different ideas on how to bulk up, right? Maybe the problem is your appetite. In that case, okay, let me find some meals that are high calorie, but they don't make me feel full. Or maybe the problem is I just can't get enough food in during the day. Okay, then maybe the one solution is having a smoothie first thing upon waking so that you get more calories in, stuff like that, or adding an extra meal during the day, or adding different snacks, right? You write out a bunch of ideas, and at least one of them will contribute to solving the problem almost completely. So that's my entire strategy going into winter is I am just going to essentially do everything I possibly can to benefit myself and lock down my routine so I can get a fuck ton of work done. Part of my goals are this channel, of course, so I'm going to try and like basically record or work on the channel every single day if I can, right? Lock down that routine. Part of it is fitness goals, so I'm really going to focus on bulking up. I'm going to focus on pushing more weight, right? Just getting like super big so that when spring rolls around, I can be actually like basically transformed, right? Like I'll look almost completely different because of how much I've transformed. Part of my goals are a protocol for increased testosterone, which I have begun taking like a week ago, where it's just like a couple supplements and stuff like that, some Brazil nuts and cold showers, and I hope that that will increase my testosterone to pretty high levels because testosterone is linked with muscle growth, right? That's what steroids do. All steroids essentially just mimic the effect of testosterone. And so I suspect that if I increase my testosterone, that'll have positive effects on my physique. So I'm extremely excited for that, right? But what you have to do is have several goals in mind and several problems that you want to eliminate, and then write out basically everything wrong with your life, and then as many things as you can possibly think of to get right with your life. If you've ever done this before, then you know what I'm talking about. When you lock in and you go through a season where you're intensely focused on your goals, your quality of life goes up. First of all, because you feel better, more proud of yourself during the day, so your mental health actually increases, right? Your happiness increases, even though you're working more, and you make way more progress towards your goals. You literally begin to become like a different person when you go through one of these arcs. And the reason that works is because you throw like everything, you attack your problems from all angles, from all sides. You just try a bunch of things and drastically change up your life. I fall into this problem a lot. Okay, and that problem is this. I tend to focus on gradual, consistent progress towards my goals, which sounds like a really good thing, right? It sounds like, okay, you're focused on making gradual, consistent progress towards your goals. Now you just need to be patient. That's what you're supposed to do. But when I do that, I don't actually make gradual, consistent progress towards my goals. I think of my constellation of goals in my life as kind of this far out thing, right? Okay, bulk up, get better at, benching, bench this weights, get better at YouTube and speaking, get better at business, stuff like this. I think about that in kind of a far off sense, right? And then I think, okay, well, I'm just gonna make slow and gradual progress towards my goals. The problem is when I do that, I get comfortable and I go into NPC mode, right? I go into kind of autopilot. I don't think about my goals day to day, and I don't end up actually making a lot of progress towards them. It takes me a long time to make a tiny bit of progress. But anytime I lock in and I go through a period, a season, where I'm basically 100% consistent towards my goals, I end up making way more progress than if I had just kept on gradually, slowly working towards my goals and being patient, right? It's such a weird paradoxical thing because it's easier to make a lot of progress in a little time than it is to make a lot of progress in a lot of time. I'll give you an example, okay? I was really concerned with bulking this past year because from the beginning, 4 years ago, when I began my fitness journey, I always wanted to hit 180 pounds. I wanted to weigh 180 pounds and I was never able to hit it. I got kind of close. I got to like 175. This was my gradual bulk, by the way, because I'm a very hard gainer, and so it took me like basically 4 years to get to 175 from 135, right? So 40 pounds in like 4 years. It's not a lot, right? It's like 10 pounds a year. I got really close, but all of my progress ground to a complete halt. And then I actually ended up going backwards in progress to 170 because I kind of got burnt out. I got tired and I was like, I'm not making any progress. So now I have this gap of 10 pounds that I need to fill to get to 180. I end up reading a book that sets me on a weight gain protocol. It's a pretty intense one, right? It has you basically only working out like once every 4 days. Very intense workouts, but short, and then just eating a ton in the meantime, right? And eating was the big part of it. But it was only 4 weeks, and it also had me taking some specific supplements. But it was only 4 weeks, and I needed to gain 10 pounds in 4 weeks. I decided to lock in and do it, and guess what? Did I gain 10 pounds in 4 weeks? No. I gained 14 pounds in 10 weeks. 14 pounds. It took me years previously to gain 10 pounds. Because I locked in and I made sure that I had 100% consistency towards my goals for the entire period of the 4 week arc, I was able to blow through my goals easily. This is the power of locking in. I don't think you understand the gift that you were given, the power in your hands that God gave you if you lock the fuck in. Okay? We have got to lock the fuck in for fall 2025. We have to. By 2026, we need to be different human beings. Okay? This is your call to action. And this is mine as well, my resolution to action. I hope I don't end up being a hypocrite, but I probably won't. Because I'm really like, I got really excited for this morning as I was writing this out. I'm going to try all of these things that I wrote down, and it's a lot. It's a list of like 11 items, and all of them require work. But I'm like excited for it. When you have an 11 item list, it could be even more for you depending on like all of the problems in your life that you might have to face, right? All of the obstacles on your way to the goal. If you implement all 11, if you implement one, imagine the effect it has in your life. If you implement all 11, imagine how much progress you're going to make. You will be a completely different human being. This is the beauty of the winter arc. This is the beauty of locking in for the winter season. Start now. Start today after this video. By mid-fall, you'll end up hitting your stride with the new lifestyle, right? You'll end up actually starting to see the results of this new lifestyle. By winter, you'll have made so much progress. By spring, you'll be unrecognizable. This is your sign to do it, brother. All right, I gotta go eat and then go to the gym. So, bye. Oh, you should subscribe if you made it this far. Basically, all I teach is how to get an aesthetic physique. That's all I talk about all the time. So if you're interested in getting an aesthetic physique, you're interested in getting like jacked, then subscribe to me so that I can teach you. You can receive value. The top link in the description is my full program if you're interested in like a more in-depth, like full course on how to get an aesthetic physique. Those are for people that that is for people, excuse me, that can afford it and who are interested in like a more heavy program like that. So if you're interested, go and check that out. If not, subscribing is free, so do that. Good luck.